You know, today it's kind of Groundhog Day, if you will, and sadly nothing has changed. If anything, things have gotten worse. You know, we toured. We did several different things. We started the day by visiting with Border Patrol and touring the new processing center that they have, and it's, you know, a nice AC facility, 153,000 square feet. But the bulk of the agents are in the processing center, and all they want is to be back out in the field. And this processing center isn't free. This processing center costs $18 million to create, and it costing the taxpayers $12.3 million a month. So this problem isn't getting worse. It's supposed to house a maximum of 1,000 people. Today it housed over 1,300, and in other times it's housed over 2,000. So this crisis hadn't got any worse, any better. I tell you what, I've been here over and over and over again. This is my district constantly. We've brought different delegations to Eagle Pass. And the thing I am most concerned with is the terrorist possibility of folks coming over. But a close second is our Border Patrol agents. I mean, these are men and women. These are mothers and fathers. And they are having to, you know, recover dead bodies every single day. Now, what does that do to you when you're fishing children out of the river, when you're, migrants dying very terrible deaths? There's a deep scar, and there's a deep darkness hole that I see within the agency, that I see within the Border Patrol. And I'm worried about them. I'm worried about them. I'm worried about their families. And that's one takeaway that we need to have is that these record numbers, there's somebody that is processing these people, and that's Border Patrol agents. There's somebody that is pulling them out of these rivers when they're drowning, when they're dying, and that's Border Patrol agents. We can't forget them and their family. One other thing we did, too, is very important that I bring groups down. And we talk about the border. Security is clearly important to us, but there's a broader conversation in Eagle Pass and anywhere along the border, and that conversation is a discussion on immigration reform. It's a discussion on, you know, the legal traffic, legal immigration, legal process that is completely broken. It's also about doing more talking or doing more listening than talking. And we were able to have a roundtable with the Mayor Salinas here in Eagle Pass, with business leaders, with just everyday people, and have this conversation. And I'm grateful that my colleagues from all over the United States have come to see it firsthand, and I'm excited to see as we go forward the changes that the Republican Party is going to do in order to secure this border, but also have a broader conversation on what we need to do to fix it, not only today, but going forward. I want to turn the mic over to Congressman Drew Ferguson. You know, he's on our leadership team. It means a lot for me for him to come out here. Eagle Pass isn't necessarily an easy place to get to, and he's just done an incredible job leading us and leading our conference. Drew Ferguson.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Tony, thank you for putting this together. For members of Congress to come from around the country to actually see what's happening on the border, it's important that we do it, but it's also incredibly eye-opening to see what's happening in the detention centers, to see what's happening. Just a little while ago, we were standing on the bridge over to my right, and we see Border Patrol agents coming to pick somebody up in the river. The hazards are real. What's happening to America is real, and what's happening to the folks that are crossing this border, many times they are victims. And what's shocking to me is how normal the chaos has become. To think about the things that are happening here right now, and people are becoming desensitized to it, and that is a very, very position for America and Americans to be in. The fact that we have a 153,000 square foot facility, and we're processing about 1,300 migrants every 36 hours, and it's costing the American taxpayer about $1,000 per migrant for them to be there for 36 hours, is unsustainable. So we're getting them through this process in a very orderly fashion. Again, it seems normal, and then they're normally going out to parts of America that we don't know. The scary part about that is that there are over 500,000 getaways that we don't know who they are that are coming across, that have gotten across this border. 500,000. Those are people, the people that are coming into the detention centers want to get caught because of this process, because they want to come into the country and they know that there's no ramifications for them. It's this huge number of people that aren't coming through the detention centers that are just getting away. And what's scary is we don't know who those people are. Tony mentioned the terrorists that are on the watch list. How many terrorists have come across our border? How many rapists? How many folks that mean to do us harm? The number of members of the cartel that are operating illegally on this side of the border, we don't know who they are, and that should terrify Americans. So I will tell you, we stand committed to create change, to look ahead to making sure that this administration and our colleagues on the other side of the aisle are aware of what's going on. And I would encourage them and invite them to come down to the border to see this firsthand. They cannot continue to hide behind the label of blissful ignorance and pretend they don't know what's going on here. So, Tony, thank you again. With that, I'll turn it over to my colleague from Michigan, Tim Walberg.
Well, thank you. And I think we first and foremost have to say we are here supporting the brown, the green, and the blue. Those law enforcement officers that are put in place to carry out the law. I'm Tim Walberg. I represent Michigan's 7th District. My district goes from Lake Michigan and the border of Illinois to the border of Canada and Lake Erie. I've often said to my constituents that we are a border county, we're a border district, and a border state in Michigan because we have the impact of what's taking place even here at the southern border. We have the fentanyl that's coming into Jackson, Michigan, and impacting people's lives, and now has expanded again when we thought we were getting that under control just a couple of years ago. But today I also found out in listening to Customs and Border Patrol the impact that we have with 30 of our agents who are keyed in and operating down here through the computers to assist in getting names back and doing background checks. So the impact of what's taking place here, where we stand, has also been assisted by agents in Detroit, truly making it clear that this is a nation that is full of border states. We have to get control down here. But I think a thing I saw today more than anything else is that a nation, I think in its framework, in our DNA, is open to the world, open to others who would want to come here, who would want to participate in this great American idea, who add to our DNA as well. And yet, because of what's going on with illegal immigration that's been pushed even more with this administration we're dealing with now, that has allowed lawlessness to be a way that you can get across because you're not enforcing the laws. I've been impacted today to say, why are we not expanding the ability to do the law by having the magistrates to hold the hearings in a timely fashion, to say to people who want to get here for whatever reason, you're welcome to try, but we're going to follow the law. And we're going to use the law as expeditiously as possible. We're going to get you across. We're going to adjudicate. If you're deserving to come, we want you here. I know the farmers in Michigan that need workers, whether it's in the dairy industry or in the fields, would love to have a quicker process to get people to do the jobs, and then the ability for them to go back if they want to do that. That doesn't take place without law and order that says our border is open at the gates, come through the gates, do it legally, sign the guest book, and we will work well with you. I appreciate what I've seen here today with Customs and Border, with Immigration Services, etc., and the local communities in dealing with a tough problem. We have to find a way, in a bipartisan way, if at all possible. If not, find a way to get a majority that says this has to stop for the human suffering and the human abilities that can come through an orderly arrangement here at the border. So it's been great to be here with Tony Gonzales. Appreciate the invite to come down. It's good to have seen this. I know what I saw 2 years ago when I was in McAllen, and I saw the so-called cages that weren't cages and weren't filled. I saw orderly transfer. What I see here today shouldn't be happening except for bad policy. And so now I turn it over to my friend from North Carolina, David Rouser.
Thank you, Tim. Tony, thank you for organizing this tour. And I also want to absolutely thank our law enforcement, particularly our Border Patrol, for the tremendous job that they do under very, very difficult circumstances. You know, there's some universal truths that you just can't ignore. And one is you get more of what you incentivize. You know, when President Biden came out and he reversed the Trump policies that worked so well, it incentivized illegal immigration. It incentivized all these crossings. And the unfortunate truth is, it's led to a humanitarian disaster. It's led to a drug disaster, enriching cartels like they've never been enriched before. It's led to crime and much more crime to come. Hundreds of thousands of getaways. We don't even know who these people are or where they are. I personally will be shocked if in the next 2 to 5 years we don't have a significant 9/11 style attack if we don't turn this around and turn this around immediately. This administration needs to come down here, see what's going on, acknowledge the disaster, and repeal these open border policies. I now will turn it over to my friend Carlos Jimenez from Florida.
Thank you. And I'm Carlos Jimenez. I represent Florida's 26th Congressional District. That's Miami and the Keys. And I want to thank Tony Gonzales for hosting us here today. I want to thank our Chief Deputy Whip, Drew Ferguson, also for being here today, along with my other colleagues. This is my third trip down to the border. Every time I'm thinking, well, maybe, just maybe, you know, it's getting better, but actually it's just getting worse. And as some of my colleagues have already said, we're going to have over 2 million immigrants crossing the border that we know of that are being processed, you know, through our system. We will have 500,000 that got away, but there's also estimates that's only half of the people that actually got away. There's another $500,000 that we don't even know got away. That's another million people that are in the United States, and we don't even know what they're doing, who they are, or where they're going. And so, why is it so important for me, a guy from Florida, to come here? Well, in the processing facility that I was at today, I spoke to a number of the migrants there, since I speak Spanish, and I asked them, where are you from? Well, they were all either from Cuba or Venezuela. And Miami is the center of both the Venezuelan exile community and the Cuban exile community. So most of those folks, I expect, will make their way to Miami. And now, more Cubans have crossed the border here the last year than we had during the Mariel boat lift. And so, yes, it is an issue for me representing Miami and the Keys. And so, when I look at the policies, it's pretty clear that the president knows exactly what he's doing. Mayorkas knows exactly what they're doing. And what's happening right now is what they want to happen. And so they want the chaos. They want the, completely open borders because their own people are telling them what they have to do to stop this insanity of what's happening here. And by the way, this is also costing migrant lives. Over 150 migrants just in this sector have died this year. Many, many more than were in the past. And so it's a humanitarian crisis. And as some of my colleagues also said, we're making the bad guys rich on the other side of the border. The cartels. I asked them, hey, how much did it cost you to cross? Oh, it cost me $2,000. It cost me $3,000. Okay, per person to cross. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands. So imagine how much money is going, American dollars are going into the hands of the cartel. And then on the other side, what are they doing? They're bringing guns, they're bringing drugs. Enough drugs, especially fentanyl, to kill every single one of us, maybe 100 times over. And so again, the cartel is almost declaring war on the United States. There's over 100,000 people died of overdoses last year in the United States. Many of them died because of fentanyl. And what are we doing about it? We're just letting it come on in. And so again, I put this all on Joe Biden, President Biden. You have to change policies, admit that you're wrong, and really help the American people. Is there any Spanish language media here? Okay, I'll say something in Spanish. Yo soy Carlos Jiménez, yo represento el Distrito 26, que representa a Miami y Los Cayos. ¿Y por qué estoy aquí? Porque muchos de los inmigrantes que están cruzando la frontera son venezolanos, son cubanos, son nicaragüenses. Muchos se van a encontrar en Miami. Por eso estoy aquí. Y lo que está pasando aquí en la frontera es caos, no está controlado. El secretario Mayorkas, cuando dice que está todo controlado, no está diciendo la verdad. Esto es totalmente fuera de control. Los agentes tienen demasiada gente que tienen que procesar. Sabemos que hay por lo menos 500,000 personas que no encontramos, que se escaparon. No sabemos quién esas personas son. Y ellos estiman que hay otros 50%, otros 500,000 que no sabemos que cruzaron la frontera. Así que tenemos por lo menos 1,000,000 de inmigrantes aquí que no sabemos quién son y por qué están aquí y dónde están. Y entonces por eso es que estoy aquí, mirando a ver si el presidente Biden ha aprendido algo durante su año y medio que está en la oficina y parece que no, porque no va a cambiar la póliza. Él sabe muy bien lo que tiene que hacer, pero no lo está haciendo. ¿Por qué? No sé. No tiene ningún sentido común. Este caos no beneficia a los Estados Unidos, nada más que beneficia los carteles internacionales de México. A ellos sí le están dando dinero. Miles y miles de millones de dólares están encontrando en sus manos porque cada persona, cada inmigrante que cruza la frontera tiene que pagar por lo menos $2,000. Así que, otra vez, esto es toda la culpa del presidente Biden. Espero que encuentre la manera de cambiar las pólizas que han causado un desastre aquí en la frontera y también está causando tanto daño a los intereses de los Estados Unidos. Muchas gracias. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Congressman Jake Ellzey from Texas.
Thank you to my good friend Tony for bringing us down here. You do this an awful lot, and you're the busiest man in Congress right now with everything that's going on in your district. My name's Jake Ellzey from Texas 6, just south of Dallas. Like my friend Tony, I'm a 20-year Navy veteran. I'm a warrior and a protector and a husband and a father. And the river behind me represents asymmetric warfare being waged against the United States every day. You know, Alejandro Mayorkas has now told Congress twice that the border's under control. And yet, this last fiscal year, since October 1st, 155 people have died in these waters behind me. Women, children. The Border Patrol has to go pick those folks up. If you're listening to my voice or watching my face right now, imagine, if you will, for just a moment, what it might be like to have to take a dead body, a dead baby, out of that river. There's stress associated with that, and I haven't seen Alejandro Mayorkas or our border czar, the vice president, come down here one time to witness that kind of atrocity. This is a human catastrophe. 140,000 getaways. Did you know that Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine with fewer people than that? But 140,000 getaways in this fiscal year alone in this United States. Do you think any of them are MS-13 going throughout our entire country, terrorizing our cities with drugs, human trafficking, and gunfire? December 7, 1941 to August 14, 1945. During World War II, 416,800 Americans perished defending our nation overseas. This last year, 105,000 Americans died from fentanyl overdoses in our backyards, our bedrooms, and in our homes, within our own borders. World War II, we lost 305 Americans every day. In this war, it's 287 Americans every day to fentanyl. I ask you, does that sound like asymmetric warfare for you? It does to me. The chemicals being provided by the communist Chinese and put together by the cartels in Mexico. They should be declared a clear and present danger to the United States of America and treated as such immediately. So if you say the border's under control, Mr. Mayorkas, it's either you're doing it on purpose or you're lying to us. Either way, it's time for you to be impeached. This is a terrible place to be. We shouldn't be talking about this, but we have to, and it needs to be addressed immediately. So, Tony, thanks again for your time. I now turn this over to Congresswoman Julia Letlow from Louisiana.
Thank you, and thank you, Congressman Gonzales, for inviting me here today. We see it every day on television, we read it in the papers, but there's nothing quite like seeing it firsthand. And I can tell you today, as I stand before you as mom of a 4- and 2-year-old, my heart is absolutely shattered. Talking to Border Control about bringing babies that have drowned out of this very river does something to your heart that it's hard to recover. And not only that, but the journey that these migrants have been on to get here to this river, then to cross it, and then to where they're going after that is so treacherous that it just absolutely has shattered me. And don't get me wrong, all of us parents here know that we want a better life for our children. But there are ways to enter this country legally, and what we have happening right here on this border is not working. And so I echo my colleagues' sentiments from Texas that their plan is absolutely not working, and it's killing people right here in this river. And I don't understand how you can turn a blind eye to that or put your head in the sand about that. Because I know as a mom, I cannot and will not do that. And I promise you that I'm going back to Washington. I'm going to do everything I can to fight this because, again, seeing it firsthand, I invite people, come down here, see it for yourselves. The pictures do not do it justice. So thank you, and I'm going to invite my new colleague, Congresswoman Connie Conway, to the podium. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you, and thank you, Tony. Appreciate this very much. You know, being from Central California, I don't have a border, but California has a border. Every situation is different. The opportunity to be here today and see this and experience it and talk to the folks that are directly impacted on both sides of the border, the immigrants themselves, law enforcement that is dealing with this crisis. It's eye-opening. I've seen it on TV. It's one thing to see, which is why I appreciate this opportunity so much to be down here to see it myself rather than just what I see on the news. And, you know, I believe this is the biggest crisis facing our nation because it impacts so many things, as you've heard all the numbers and all the information from my colleagues, how they're impacted. I know in the Central California where I live, it's an agricultural area. Just 2 weeks ago, 2 gentlemen were stopped, well, guys were stopped with 150,000 fentanyl pills, and 18 hours later they're let go, and of course they didn't return for their appointed court date. So border or no border, this impacts every single life, every single person in this country. And for the life of me, I cannot understand this administration. They either think we're stupid when they tell us, no, it's all good, you know, we got it under control. Do you really think the American people don't realize that's not true? And why they won't come down, I don't get that either. You know, I'll pay for the plane flight, not on Air Force One, but come down here, please. Do not ignore the situation. This is an American crisis. The cartels, as we've heard, they are the big winners. They are financially backing a lot of this. Something has to change. Like my colleagues, I'm committed to that change and want to see what's best for this country, what's best for the border countries, and do something and do it soon. Thank you. Tony?
Yeah, we'll open it up for a few questions. Yes, sir.
What you guys witnessed was actually a drowning rescue, a water rescue, and a soldier almost lost his life if it weren't for DPS jumping in to save him. What's your reaction? And these are men and women that are here serving the Lord.
You know, a couple months ago, Bishop Evans, Sergeant Bishop Evans, was not rescued, and he drowned right behind us here in Eagle Pass, just a few feet from us. This soldier lost his life defending this border, and that chaos has not stopped for one moment. We almost lost another soldier today. What is it going to take? You know, 155 migrants. Migrants get fished out of that river every single day. Many of them innocent people making a dangerous trek, just looking for a better life for themselves. Everyone has been sucked up into this chaos. Congressman Ferguson mentioned it earlier. There's a normacy that is happening. This should not be normal. Saving soldiers from drowning in a river in Texas is not normal. What is it going to take for this administration to wake up and turn around and say your policies are broken? You've got a group of people here that are ready to work with you. Let's find a solution to it. We're not looking politically through it. My people in this district, we need help today, Not just Republicans or Democrats. We need help. What is it going to, how many people are going to die? 53 people in my district, 53 migrants cooked to death in a truck. Imagine being the first responder and you respond to that crisis. You never can get that smell out of your mind. These are the things that my first responders are dealing with every day. Congressman Ferguson, you have any thoughts to say on you know, the fact that a National Guardsman almost drowned?
Yeah. The fact that the Biden administration has created the environment that makes it less safe, not only for our citizens, but for our law enforcement officers is unconscionable. For the administration, again, to turn a blind eye to what's happening here should infuriate every single American, because it's having a real impact on their lives. These officers that are putting their lives at risk every single day also happen to be fathers or mothers, brothers and sisters. They have families to go home to. They have people that they love and people that love them, and they are being put at risk because of policies that Joe Biden and this administration continue to back that put America more and more at risk. And for what reason? What's happening here? You ask yourself, why is this going on? Why, when you look at failing to deal with border security and legal immigration, you know who the big winner in it all is? The drug cartels. Not Republicans, not Democrats, not Mexico, not America. It's the drug cartels. And so the question's got to be raised is, why is the administration allowing the drug cartels, which are narco-terrorist organizations, to win instead of Americans? It's unconscionable, and we have to put a stop to it.
I have a follow-up.
Yes.
And this is for you, Congressman, and Congresswoman from Louisiana. I was with DPS embedded with them 2 nights ago. Came across a gentleman named Kevin O'Falma, 24-year-old Honduran. This is his arrest record in Louisiana. Indecency behavior with a juvenile 3 times. Pornography involving a juvenile 1 time. Misdemeanor carnal knowledge of a juvenile times 1. If DPS was working OLS, he would have been a goner.
Every single day, there are bad actors that are crossing this river. Every single day. And these bad actors are going to all parts of the country. These are people we do not want, and nobody wants in their neighborhood. Also, every single day, you've got innocent people that are fleeing terrible situations that are crossing that river. And they're mixed together. And because Border Patrol agents are in processing centers and they're not out in the field, we don't know who's who. And that's the most dangerous thing. The number one thing Border Patrol agents ask me is just get me back in the field so I can catch bad people that want to do bad things to innocent folks. And because they're not in the field, they can't do that. And we can't rely sheriffs, police chiefs, DPS agents to fill the gap. What is it going to take? You know, Secretary Mayorkas visited my office 3 weeks ago, and I asked him for many things, but there was one thing in particular that I asked him for. I said, Mr. Secretary, this goes away if you re-implement repatriation flights. What does that mean? There's a brand new processing center here in Eagle Pass. Thousands of people get processed there. You know what it's missing? It's missing an immigration portion to it where people get their case heard in days, not years. And if you don't qualify for asylum, you get sent back to your country of origin, right? That enforces it. This goes away with that. In the same breath, this administration needs to think about legal immigration. I met with farmers and ranchers 2 days ago, and they're going, Tony, there's thousands of people coming through our sector, but yet I can't find workers to help in the field. These people are going elsewhere because there is no legal immigration process. It is completely broken. This administration has doubled down on illegal immigration, and innocent migrants are getting sucked up into the chaos and drowning, and innocent people, innocent Americans, are having to live with these bad actors that are making it everywhere. Julia?
Well, what's absolutely heartbreaking is the migrants trying to cross this river and the babies that are drowning. But what's terrifying as a mom is the 140,000 getaways that we don't know who they are, where they went, could be in my state of Louisiana, coming after my children and yours. That is absolutely terrifying. something has to change, something has to stop for the safety of my children and for yours.
Do we have any other questions? I'm a father of 6, and I'm a father before I'm a congressman. And as a father, I'm concerned about my children going back to school. I'm concerned with school safety. I represent District 23, Texas 23rd District, 119 cities and towns. And I'll tell you, every single one of them is concerned about going back to school. The closer you are to the border, the more you see these bailouts. It used to be once a month, then it was once a week. Now it's 3 times a week. And in some cases, it is daily. So what does that happen? The parents, the teachers, everyone, the children, you become numb to it. It becomes normal. There is nothing normal about a school going into lockdown. There is nothing normal about a high-speed chase going through a small town. And it's no longer, it's a matter of time before someone dies. People are dying every single day. Every single day. So I would tell, every community, we met with the mayor of Eagle Pass earlier today, and we had this discussion. And every community is going, what do we have to do in order to make sure our parents feel as if they are, they are ready for the school year? Right, do we have any other questions? One last question, if there's any other questions. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Whose is this, Mike? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brother Shea.